In this forecast video, we are forecasting that big severe weather threat expected late this week in the Great Plains, as well as looking at your Halloween forecast, long-range forecast as we go into November, and also finalizing on that Tropical Storm Lisa forecast for Central America. Alrighty, welcome back into another more weather forecast video. It's been a good amount of days since I've been on here because we have been having pretty quiet weather across the United States, but we're expecting that to change as we go later into this week. So let's get right on into the forecast to see what we're expecting. So right now, across the United States, we're seeing some moisture and precipitation coming into the northwestern United States. This is probably going to affect your plans for trick-or-treating up there, Seattle down to Portland, all the way from Indiana, Montana, pretty much in the Pacific Northwest is where we're expecting that moisture as we go into later tonight. So for your trick-or-treating forecast, it's going to be damp, cloudy, and really rainy up there in the Pacific Northwest. I know you guys are used to that, but that might affect your plans for trick-or-treating. So make sure to know, make sure to keep your eye on the forecast, on the radar before you go out there to knock on doors tonight up there in the Pacific Northwest. We are also expecting some moisture down here in southern Texas, so say in San Antonio, along the southern coast of Texas. We're going to be watching you guys down there for some rain. We're not expecting any severe storms, but again, this could affect your trick-or-treating forecast, so make sure to have that in the back of your mind. And then also some scattered showers and possibly a few scattered thunderstorms into the northeast. This is going to be very scattered and isolated, so again, make sure you're looking at the radar before you go out for trick-or-treating if you're in the northeast. But overall, everyone's looking good except up there in the northwestern United States where we are expecting a lot of moisture. Everywhere in between all these areas, where we could see some problems with trick-or-treating, we are expecting some nice, warm, probably pretty much clear weather as high pressure dominates most of the central United States. So as we keep going here into Tuesday, we do see some moisture, a front come into the western United States, Pacific Northwest. We're expecting a lot of moisture as we go into the coming days, and we're going to see that as we go into long-range forecast, but we'll look at that as we go later into the video. So by the time we go into Tuesday, again, we're seeing snow in the Cascade Mountains all the way down into California, as well as some rain into San Francisco, but mostly that nice warm temperatures in the central United States. So we're going to have a good amount of days this week of warm temperatures from the Rockies all the way to the Ohio Valley, so that's going to be pretty nice. Then as we go later in the week, though, Mother Nature is going to have a change of plans for us. So let's time that out, see what we're looking at as we go later into the week. And as we go later into the week, we are expecting a low-pressure system to develop in the Great Plains into the Rocky Mountain region. So over northeastern Colorado, by the time we go into Thursday, we're seeing a lot of snow being dropped from North Dakota, mainly though in the Rocky Mountains from Wyoming all the way down into Arizona, so more snow for those ski resorts. And we're also seeing a big cold blast in the western United States, so make sure to bring out those jackets. We're going to be seeing a lot of cold air as we go into mid to later this week in the western United States. Then as we go again into Thursday, we could see some storms develop into Kansas and Nebraska, and that leads us into our severe weather forecast. So for Thursday, we do have a 15% chance of severe weather. This goes from northern Kansas all the way down into the panhandle of Oklahoma and Texas here. This is our Day 4, again, for Thursday outlook. If we do see storms develop here, they'll probably fire off by the time we go into Thursday evening. Overall, I'm not seeing a huge severe weather threat for Thursday, but as we go into Friday and Saturday, that's where I do see a bigger severe weather threat, but still be on the lookout here. Of course, this is going to change, and we'll get more information on this as we go later in the week, and I will provide updates on that. But for right now, we do have that 15% chance. Again, this will fluctuate, the location of this will fluctuate, but if you're in the Great Plains, mainly the southern Great Plains, make sure you're watching out for severe weather as we go into Thursday and into this weekend. And then as we go into Friday, as you can see, we do have another risk for severe weather, and this is from Oklahoma City, so east or western Oklahoma all the way down to the Texas-Mexico border. I think, again, placement of these two areas is definitely going to change, but we are going to see severe weather in the southern Great Plains as we go into later this week. So let's continue to time that out on the GFS model. So as we keep going here into Friday, we do see a pretty good line of storms. Some storms fire off here from Kansas all the way down into southern Texas. This is going to provide some severe weather, and I think that our risk area for Friday could definitely be shifted north and east, and I think we're going to see shifts in the forecast again as we go into the future. So if you're in Texas, into Oklahoma, Kansas, into Arkansas as well. Make sure you are paying attention to the forecast as we go into Friday and into this weekend. Again, in those areas I just named, make sure you're paying attention to the forecast, because severe weather is definitely something we're going to have to watch for as we go into Friday and then into this weekend. So again, as we keep timing this out, by the time we go into Saturday even, we could see a good line of storms, and all severe weather hazards are definitely going to be possible here. I think though Friday, Saturday, and maybe into Sunday, but right now Friday and Saturday are our days we're really going to have to watch for severe weather. Thursday I don't know about yet. We'll get more information on that, but again, Thursday in Kansas, all the way down to panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas, we're going to be watching that severe weather. But again, Friday into Saturday, you can see we do have this big line of storms, or maybe some clusters put together into kind of a line of storms develop here. And this is probably going to provide severe weather from Kansas City all the way down into Dallas. So Tulsa, Oklahoma City is going to be including that. I think the biggest threat here is going to be damaging winds, but again, a lot more information as we go into later of the week, because we are a good amount of days out here. So now that we're done with the severe weather forecast, let's go hop on over to the long range forecast. So we're looking at the 500 millibar height anomaly here. So this is going to basically tell us where we're going to see our warm air, where we're going to see our cold air, and when and where we're going to see our weather systems coming across the United States as we go into the future year. Again, as we keep going on with this model, make sure to take it with a grain of salt, because things are definitely going to change. The forecast is going to change. You know, us weathermen don't get a lot of things right. We get a lot of things wrong. So the forecast will change, like the severe weather forecast, but we're looking even more long range. So a lot of things, again, is going to change. But this is just looking at what the trend is looking like as we go into the future year. So let's start this out. So for right now, we're seeing some colder air across the southern United States, but mainly some nice weather across the United States. Now, as we keep going here into Tuesday and into Wednesday, so midweek, we do see a system, some moisture coming into the western United States. And again, this is going to be associated with our next big weather system expected to cause that severe weather in the Great Plains. That again, we'll provide more updates as we go into the future later on in this week. But we're going to see some warm air again across the United States, excluding the western and Pacific Northwestern United States. We're going to see some warm air, some nice weather across the rest of the United States, again, excluding the western United States. Then as we go into Wednesday, you can see that system really starts to develop here, and this is going to bring down some cold air into the western United States. And if we keep going out here with this model, as we keep going here, in a sec I'll show you that, we're probably going to see a lot more colder air in the western United States. That's what the trend is looking like. But a lot of warm air over here in the eastern United States, so from the Rockies to the east. By the time we go into Friday, we're still seeing warm air over here in the eastern United States. But as we keep going here into our weekend, we're probably going to see this shift to the northeast. So this is going to go out of here to the northeast into probably the Great Lakes region, so Wisconsin, Illinois. This could bring a day or two of cold air from Oklahoma all the way to the Great Lakes region, so something we're going to have to watch for, and it is expected to bring precipitation as well. So if we time it out on the GFS model, you can see as we keep going here, this is expected to bring some rain from St. Louis to Chicago, Milwaukee, and then into the Great Lakes region from Detroit into the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. This could bring some rain. Also, possibility of severe weather. You can see maybe a line of storms sparking off by the time we go into Sunday, but again, that's pretty far out. We'll have more updates on that as we go into the future. But I think for right now, our biggest severe weather threat is going to be Thursday into Saturday in the Great Plains, and then as we go into later Sunday into Monday, we'll keep our eye on that. But for right now, that's too far out to really forecast. Again, that's going to bring some rain. Let's time it out here again from Arkansas all the way to St. Louis, Chicago, Indianapolis, all the way to Detroit and Green Bay, as well as Milwaukee, all those places and everywhere in between. That's where we're expecting that moisture. Now, this will be pretty fast moving, so maybe 1 or 2 days of rain in St. Louis into Chicago. So again, that's probably pretty welcome moisture, as we're seeing a bit of a drought, especially in the lower Mississippi Valley. So it's going to be pretty welcome moisture for your plants and grass there in the Mississippi Valley. So we're definitely going to see some rain as we go into later this week, late weekend there in the lower Mississippi Valley there. And as we keep going into Monday of next week, we do see that getting its way out of here, and then our next system is going to come on in. We don't know the exact details of that because we're looking pretty far out. We're looking at about a week out until probably Election Day. If we look at Election Day, November 8th here on Tuesday, you can see we have snow from North Dakota all the way down to Colorado. So that could be our next big storm, going all the way out to November 8th. Going to be a big day across the United States. So it could be our next system. And if we keep looking here on our long-range forecast, by the time we do go into next week, we do see another system probably coming into the Northwest. So we're expecting to see a lot of activity coming into the Northwestern United States and Western United States. This is going to bring a trend for cold air there from early November all the way into mid-November in the Western United States, especially Pacific Northwestern United States. So this is definitely a trend we're going to have to watch here for the Northwestern United States. It's going to be rainy, it's going to be snowing, it's going to be cold in that part of the country probably as we go into mid-November. So a trend, again, we're definitely going to have to watch here if you live up there or in the Western United States and up there in the Northwestern United States. We're going to see that warm air across the Eastern United States. So I think as we go into November, let's keep playing this out here. We're going to see a lot of warm air in the Central into Eastern United States, but then as we go into mid-November, we could see those cold air blasts, those weather systems coming across the United States, and that's what's going to disrupt our warm air and nice, sunny, great weather. So that's a pattern we're going to have to watch as well here. A lot of weather systems coming across the United States, dips in the jet streams. That's going to cause some cold air to come in the Central and Eastern United States. So again, another pattern we're going to have to watch here as we go into the future. And then as we go way far out here, again, take this all with a grain of salt. We're into November 12th, so mid-November by this point, early into mid-November. But then after these low pressure system dips in the jet stream come through, we see that warm air rebound. So I think overall, as we go into November, we're going to see a lot of active weather, but that warm air is really going to be around for most of the time with periods of cold air and those low pressure systems, big weather systems coming through, which is going to make the headlines in the weather news. But mostly we're going to be seeing warm air, I think. A few Arctic blasts, a few weather systems coming through is to be expected though. So make sure you subscribe and go follow me on Twitter as we are expecting active weather ahead, but I think that warm air will continue to stay dominant in the Eastern United States, but not in the Western United States. Now that we're done with the long range forecast, again, we're expecting that cold air in the Western United States, warm air in the Eastern United States. And as we go into, again, mid-November, a lot of weather systems could be coming through the Central United States, and that could cause a lot of active weather. So, again, now that we're done with that, let's finalize on our Tropical Storm Lisa forecast. So right now, Tropical Storm Lisa, it was just named that, is just to the south of Jamaica. We could have a few impacts in Jamaica. For right now, we're not expecting too many impacts in Jamaica, and we do expect that forecast to confirm. We could see some flooding, some gustier winds, but not expecting too much. But then as we go into Tuesday, Lisa is expected to remain a tropical storm. Then as we go into later on Wednesday, we're expecting a landfall somewhere in between Honduras and Belize. For right now, National Hurricane Center is looking like it's going to make an landfall in Belize. But again, this track will fluctuate. It will change. So make sure if you're down here in Central America, you pay attention to this track as we go into the future. Make sure you pay attention to this. This isn't going to be a superstorm. This isn't going to be a blockbuster storm. Probably going to be mainly just a tropical storm. Its whole lifetime could strengthen to a low-end hurricane when Lisa here makes landfall. We're expecting impacts including flooding, mudslides, storm surge and high winds, but overall nothing like Ian was for Florida. We're looking more like what we saw with Tropical Storm Julia, with the main threat again being flooding. So make sure if you're down here in Central America and to southern Mexico, you're ready for this because we are expecting some flooding here with Tropical Storm Lisa. Just thought I would add that in because it is something pretty big in the weather world right now. Alrighty, that about wraps up this more weather forecast video. Again, we went over your Halloween forecast and also that severe weather forecast. As we go into later this week, we're expecting that severe weather in the Great Plains Thursday, again into Saturday, something we're going to have to watch here, and I will keep you updated on all of it, including the long-range forecast. Alright, that about wraps up this more weather forecast video. As always, stay prepared out there, and I will see you soon with more weather.